Wurzburg, and we are getting off the boat about 8:15, I think, this morning. It was going to be earlier. There was some discussion about where the boat would actually dock, and there was a possibility it was going to dock a little bit out of town, which meant we were going to be bussed in, but now we are going right in, so that's been good. It took the mad panic out of breakfast a little bit. We've been told no cameras today. A lot of what we see you're not allowed to photograph, and we're not allowed backpacks. So it'll be the phone, I guess. I'll leave the video camera behind, and we'll just take it, well, whatever they dish out we'll take, I suppose. We're all being equipped with headsets and earphones, so no doubt we'll hear a lot. How much of it we'll remember, I don't know. But the interesting thing they've told us so far is that this town, Wurzburg, was virtually destroyed during World War II. And so everything that we see has been rebuilt, or a lot of it has been rebuilt. Yes, apparently it was left as smouldering ashes at the end of the war. So if they can rebuild all of this, it raises the question of the Christchurch Cathedral. It's no wonder we don't have any history. The moment we've got any at all, and something happens to it, people seem hell-bent, the owners anyway, on tearing it down and modernising it. Which I suppose is good for the Europeans, because we keep coming here to see something that hasn't been modernised. Gee whiz, I hope the guy steering's noticed how close to that bridge he's going. I'm sure he has. Wow. No wonder they have these big buffers along the side. And while I was out hanging out the window filming this particular part of the exercise, the guide was busy explaining to us that we would not be allowed cameras that particular day, or anything big in the way of water or whatever. So I did cheat a little bit and used YouTube for the inside shots. Well done, boat steerer. Yeah, it's no wonder they take the sky deck down. You reach out and you can touch this bridge. The only trouble is, by the time you turn the camera on, the best view that you turned it on for has disappeared. Was the castle, or the residence they seem to call it. There's a lion with a ring through its nose. Not content with a brick wall, stone wall, dominating the town and above the vineyard. Oh, we seem to be doing a hard turn. They've got the thrusters going full tilt. Really working on it. Very manoeuvrable boat.
Situated in the wide valley of the main river, in the centre of Bavaria's most famous wine-producing area, Wurzburg is a city which is rich in history. It's a Baroque city, considered to be the pearl of the Romantic Road. The centre of the old town was rebuilt around the St. Kilian Cathedral, and it's a compromise between safeguarding the heritage of the town and meeting the needs of a modern city. One of the most elegant and glorious palaces in Europe is the Residenz. This is the Baroque palace the prince-bishops lived in after coming down from the hilltop fortress. This is considered the most beautiful Baroque palace in Germany. The architecture of the palace and the immense space of the square are in many ways dynamically related. In the cour d'honneur is the Franconia fountain by Fernand Miller, built in 1894. The large ornamental pediment was built by Lucas von Hildebrandt and includes two lions who support the coat of arms of the Prince-Bishop, surmounted by the imperial crown. From the garden, we can see the south facade of the Residenz. From the east garden, a view of the imperial hall pavilion of the Residenz. The palace garden, which has flower beds that are changed to match the seasons, was designed in the 18th century, with lovely fountains, shrubs and gravel walks. The remarkable classicistic garden statues, mostly of Savoyard boys, Chinese, Moorish children, vases and cartouches of the main garden, are the work of Johann Peter Wagner and his atelier. The dominant characteristic of this room is the contrast between its unusual breadth and the low elevation of the vaulting, which is limited by the white hall above. The vault was made with remarkable technical skill. The rather oppressively low proportions of the vestibule were no doubt intended to provide an architectural contrast to the lofty staircase. Architecture and painting have combined to make the staircase at Wurzburg one of the most magnificent triumphs of secular building. The design was extended to provide for 3 flights of stairs with landings, similar to the staircase finally constructed. In 1737, the whole staircase was completed, and by 1743, the vault was finished. It was Giovanni Battista Tiepolo who first contrived a fitting decoration for Balthasar Neumann's vault. The garden hall is a wide room based on a transverse oval ground plan. For its size, it's disproportionately low, yet it nevertheless gives an impression of graceful lightness. The vault is supported not by the walls alone, but also by a ring of fine perpendicular columns. The stucco decoration was created by Antonio Bossi. In the White Hall, the stucco decorations by Antonio Bossi stand out against a pale grey background, the effect heightened by a few delicate touches of yellow and the darker grey shadows cast by the stucco reliefs. The classicist stove was made by Anton Ugg. The sculptures were made of terracotta and covered in thin gold-coloured metal. The stucco work of this brilliant artist is remarkably lively and full of movement. His roquet design seemed to blaze up, darting like flames across the vaulting. The hall was originally intended as a salle de garde. The audience room of the southern imperial apartment is the best preserved interior. The fireplace, of violet and agate-coloured marble, is part of the original decoration. In a corner stands a rococo stove in white and gold. On the walls are Brussels tapestries. A secretary with rich marquetry and gilded bronze decorates the room. The Venetian wall panelling with its inset paintings is original. The wood is light walnut with superimposed gilded tin ornamentation, which was evidently intended to give the impression of heavy gilded bronze. Fantastic beasts and comical dwarfs are found in the wainscot panelling, while figures in contemporary costume adorn the sides of the windows and the panels of the doors. This Venetian room was originally furnished between 1738 to 1741 from designs by the old court painter Rudolf Biss, who was also responsible for the ceiling decoration. By contrast with the other rooms, this consists of paintings in brilliant colours on a background of polished plaster. 3 tapestries from the Gobelin Manufactory represent scenes from the Venetian Carnival and the Commedia dell'arte. The wall decoration of the mirror cabinet, completed between 1740 and 1745, is the most precious interior created in the Wurzburg residence. Mirror cabinets are found in numerous German Baroque and Rococo palaces. Oriental porcelain figures in front of the mirrors and exotic figures and scenes could be incorporated directly into the mirror. The walls of the mirror cabinet consisted entirely of glass panels. The stuccoing of the trough vault in 1740 is one of Antonio Bossi's finest achievements. The Red Room in the Empress's apartments was originally intended to be a grand cabinet with silver decorations on a blue background. The highly imaginative and delicate stucco work by Antonio Bossi dates from this first planning phase. The emblems are music, war, literature, the arts, and new naturalistic motifs. This room had previously been used as the imperial bedroom. The decoration and furnishing work was interrupted by the 7 Years' War and was recommenced only in 1763. The Emperor Napoleon, who stayed in Wurzburg 3 times during the reign of Grand Duke Ferdinand III of Tuscany, spent the night in this room. The green lacquered room is a unique room, a perfect reflection of late Wurzburg Rococo and early Neoclassicism. The special character of the room is created by its luminous green, applied on a silver background to give the colour depth and an unusual translucent quality, which is vividly accented by the colours in the paintings. The overall effect is heightened by the gilded stucco decorations in late Rococo forms by Materno Bossi, and the paintings of landscapes, scenes with putty, clusters of blossom and butterflies are executed in charming colours. Although comparatively small, the court chapel is nevertheless one of the most perfect 18th century religious buildings in Germany. The architectural concept, above all the highly complex structure of the building, which far exceeds anything Hildebrandt ever created, is exclusively the work of Balthasar Neumann. The court chapel was severely damaged by fire during the Second World War. The restoration work is an outstanding achievement. The stucco decoration and stucco figures, including Christ on the cross with Mary Magdalene in the niche behind the main altar and Mary on the gallery altar, are by Antonio Bossi. The pilasters extend through the entire 3 stories of the southwest block and through 8 axes up to the transverse oval. Wurzburg is home to the famed vineyard Stein, which gave rise to the generic term Stein wine, formerly used to denote all Franconian wines. The winery is based in the former royal court cellars at the UNESCO-listed residence of the Prince Bishops of Wurzburg. Over the years, glamorous receptions have been held here for statesmen, emperors and kings, a tradition still upheld today. The Wurzburg residence is a model of cooperation between artists drawn from many European countries, a synthesis of the European Baroque. Its originality and ambitious construction make it unique. The Wurzburg residence was recognized by UNESCO as World Heritage in 1981.
That visit was clearly a highlight. I'm just sorry that we couldn't take the GoPro in, because the stunning impact of some of those rooms was beyond belief. It had every bit as much wow power as some of the castles we'd seen many years ago. I have to say, one of the most enjoyable parts of this was being able to look back at the film that I took, and with the help of Google Maps and Google Earth and Google itself, being able to actually get the lowdown on what we were seeing, because although the guide gave it to you at the time, you know, you were following them around, you were watching out where you were walking, you were trying to keep an eye on the flag, and it all got a little bit much, and sort of information went in one ear and out the other. And a lot of the impact was from just walking around these lovely streets. Just look at the pedestrianisation that the Europeans do. There's not a car to be seen in a lot of these places. Where to look next? That is the problem. So many of these places, there was something to be seen absolutely everywhere. There were churches to find out about, there were stalls to have a look at, there were people to watch. Life was interesting, to put it mildly, and the temperature was up there, I think probably hitting 30 plus on this particular day, and just ideal tourist weather. You couldn't grizzle. We didn't get up the hill there to that fortress, unfortunately, but there's plenty of information about that on the web as well. But we just enjoyed Wurzburg, looking around, enjoying the vibes, I suppose, and the relaxed nature of part of it. Yes, he's doing an essential job. Just look at the colour of the grass. No water, no green. Pretty impressive, actually. Pulling the water out of the river too. Those swans have got a problem. I hope they get out of the way. They better scarper. Hopefully they're going the right way. I work out how a dairy factory got underneath you. But that one over there. You see, I can't read that. I can with this on Zoom though. I can't get over how he goes so straight along these narrow areas. He came in and there was no space between the boat and the side at all. There's a wee bit of a gap now, but it gets narrower just up ahead, and yet he hasn't touched it. It's close. It's very close. No opportunity lost when it comes to cleaning the windows, and we're obviously off again. We left Wurzburg at midday and we're sailing off towards somewhere. Incidentally, it was the 4th of July, so the Americans were all a bit silly that day. Which is probably why we went thump on the side. Well, we're off again. Interesting, in the time we've been here waiting for that lock, there have been at least 5 trains go past. And slowly we are moving. Lots of people just sitting. I guess the heat is just sitting sort of weather. Yeah, everywhere, you know, every time you look out the window there's something to see. Gee, I hope they know what gear they've got that car in. Having gone through a number of locks, passing yet another camping ground. There are lots and lots and lots of these. The sky is starting to look quite a bit thunderier, if there is such a word. The humidity levels are pretty high at the moment, and there's quite a wind out there. Tailwind in this instance. But I think there might be some rain about. It's got that feel. I hear a loudspeaker of some sort over there.
Yeah.
Another bridge coming up.
Oh look, there's rows of people lined up.
Not sure what's going on.
Another bridge coming up.
Yep. And there's people on the bridge. And there's not a lot of clearance above the boat. Just one bridge after another. Another one coming. Yet more camper vans, I'd say. Don't think that's a camping, I don't know if it's a camping ground or a free camping area. They seem to go in for free camping quite a bit. Actually, that was deceptive. We found out later on that far from the case, they were organised campgrounds. Can't see Gunter and Fritzy there though. It must be a camping ground. And another bridge. A bit higher this time. And the camping ground goes on. all the way. And looking back behind us, there's another barge following us. That's the most interesting clouds we've seen since we left. I don't know whether this is a camping ground as such or not, because it looks very much just like a paved parking area, the way they're all lined up. That'll be the local boat ramp. It's just a sealed parking area, I think, because they're all just lined up, boom, boom, boom. It looks like a tavern of some sort. Get lots of waves. There's a couple of swans, but no young ones. That's a bit unusual. Seem to be having to wait for another boat. After quite a long wait, over an hour, probably more like an hour and a half.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce that the dining room is open for dinner.
Oh, dinner time.
Bon appetit.
So there is the reason for the hold up, and we're about to go into a lock, which will be exciting at dinner time. Ah, it was a double hold up. There were two in there. At least two. Who knows, there might be another one behind it. And now it's our turn at last.